The people of other country would boast themselves saying that they have more population than the Monaco kingdom. If they want to travel from one place to another, if they want to sell their products, they have to depend on men if they have not learned the bicycle. Before answering or writing the dialogue, you need to read the complete dialogue and then answer the question, because there are clues given here. Based on these expressions, you need to write your answers. Hello everyone, I'm Babita Tamaya, lecturer, Department of English, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In my today's session, I'll be discussing the model question paper. So before moving on to the model question paper, let's see what's the exact revised model question paper. So here is the blueprint which is based on the model question paper. So as you all know, in English there are 14 chapters and it is like 50 and 50. 50 is from the grammar part, 50 is from the literature. Now let's see the blueprint on the chapters. There are 14 chapters. Let's see the weightage of each and every chapter. The poem 1, Romeo and Juliet. From there, you have 1 mark question, 4 and 6. So put together, the weightage is for 11 marks. So this chapter is very important as per the model question paper. That is the poem Romeo and Juliet, because the weightage is 11 marks. Moving on to the next one, 2 Dear, it's 1 and 4. The weightage is for 5 marks. On children, it is for 4 marks. You can expect only 1 question for 4 marks and the weightage is 4 marks. Everything I need to know, I learned in the forest. You have 1 and 4. It's for 5 marks. Sunny morning, you have 1, 4. Again, it is the weightage is 5 marks. Poem 6, When You Are Old, 1 mark. The weightage of that poem is 1 mark. 7th chapter, The Gardener, 1 and 4, weightage is 5 marks. 8, To the Food from Its Child, you have only 1 question for 4 marks and the weightage is 4. 9th, I Believe That Books Will Never Disappear, you have 1 and 6 and the weightage is 7 marks. 10th, Heaven If You're Not Here on Earth, you have only 1 question for 1 mark, so the weightage from this poem is only for 1 mark. 11th chapter, Japan and Brazil Through a Traveler's Eye, you have 1 and 4, it is for 5 marks. And the 12th, The Otter, again you have 1 and 4, weightage is 5 marks. 13th chapter, Where There Is a Wheel, you have 1, 4 and 6, the weightage is 11 marks. The last poem, Water, again it's for 1 mark and the weightage is 1 mark. This is the exact blueprint of the revised model question paper. So if you see the blueprint, there are 2 chapters where the weightage is for 11 marks. So one is poem, that is Romeo and Juliet, and the other one is Where There Is a Wheel. So put some more interest towards these chapters so that you can score better the marks. Now let's see the instruction before we move on to the model question paper. When you get the question paper, you can see the instructions over there, but most of the students will never read that. So let's see what is the important instruction that we have in English. So here is the instruction. Follow the prescribed word limit while answering the question. So whatever the word limit they have asked, you have to follow that. Second, write the correct question number as it appears on the question paper. This is very important, because you cannot miss the question number in English from question number 1 till 35. It is the continuous number. Don't miss the numbers anywhere. Write the proper question number as it appears on the question paper. Third one, 1 mark questions attempted more than 1 will be awarded 0. Keep this in mind. So when you start writing the 1 marks, all the 1 marks questions, as you all know, there are 12 questions. All the 12 questions should be written in a sequence, and you cannot repeat the same question answers in the last page or in between the leaves. If you do so, it will be awarded 0. And when you answer 1 mark question, you might have written in the first pages, but you feel that the answer is wrong. Again, you'll write the answer in the last page. If you do so, you won't fetch any marks. What you have to do in the sense, if you feel that the answer is wrong, write the answer there itself and there only you have to write. Don't write in the last page, you won't get marks. As per the board, they say that whatever the answers is written in the first 3 pages, that will be taken into consideration. Moving next. All questions including multiple choice question from section 1 should be answered in the first 3 pages only. This is in the revised model question paper. So from question number 1 till question number 16, it should be written in the first 3 pages only. Please keep this in mind. Make sure that you will write question number 1 till question number 16 in the first 3 pages. For multiple choice questions, choose the correct answer and rewrite it. So as you all know, the first 12 questions are MCQs. Make sure that you'll write only the answers. Choose the correct answer and write. Don't write the questions and sit. It's only the answers they need. Answer to question number 28, that is from A to J, and 29, 1 to 3 should be in a sequence at one place. So A to J, that is question number 28. It is the passage for 10 marks. All the 10 questions starting from A to J should be in a sequence, should be written one below the other in one single page. You cannot write the answer A to B or C in one page and the remaining in the 4th or the 5th leaf or at the end of the answer script. Don't do that. Make sure that all the 10 questions should be written in a sequence, as well as the same thing with the question number 29. All the 3 questions should be written in a sequence. This is the important instruction for English when you write your board exam. Now let's see the model question paper or the revised model question paper from the board. The first main, answer the following questions by choosing the right option. Answer to this section should be in sequence and written on the first 3 pages of the answer book. It's clearly given. Your answer should be written in the first 3 pages of your answer script. Now let's see the first question. Romeo comes dash to a red jewel in an Ethiop's ear. You have 4 options. So Romeo comes whom to red jewel? Romeo comes Juliet to a red jewel. The army in Monaco consisted of dash number of men in 2 deer. So 70, 55, 60 and 75. So he had a very small army with 60 men. In When You're Old, the speaker loved the pilgrim soul of his beloved and also her sorrows. Question number 4. They were dash priest sitting on Gonzalo's usual bench in the park in a sunny morning. So how many priests were sitting? They were sitting 3 priests. During the Chipko moments, dramatic actions mentioned by Vandana Shiva, the woman who led resistance against her husband was Bachini Devi. According to the narrator of The Gardener, man would lose his name on reaching old age. Dash will never disappear according to Borges. According to him, he says that books will never disappear. In Heaven If You're Not Here on Earth, the poet creates heaven on earth. The Japanese stores employ dash to greet customers. So they employ bowing girls. Marcus E.B. was dash before entering into politics. What was he? He was a school teacher before entering into politics. Dash sanctioned 50 Muppets for Areoli women activists according to P. Sainath. It is the UNICEF who sanctioned 50 Muppets. Dash is the new name acquired by water as mentioned in the poem Water. It is the mineral water. Question number 13. Complete the following by filling the blanks using the right form of the verb given in the bracket. You can see the answers in the brackets there. So you have to just read the sentence and try to write the correct answer, that is the correct form of the verb in the blanks. In no time, cycling became a way of life in Pudukkottai. It was introduced It was introduced as a tool of social change. Mobility facilitated by cycling was included. Cycling was included as a part of literacy drive. The idea was proposed by Sheila Rani Chunkat. So when you write this answer, make sure that you'll write the question number and then write the answer. Don't write the question. Moving to question number 14. Fill in the blanks by choosing appropriate expressions given in the brackets. So there are 2 blanks. Each blank carries 2 marks. It was the time of election. The campaign in Umofia was dash knew that the Honorable Minister would have a dash. So you have the options like in a soup, landslide victory, in a full swing. Now let's see the answer for this question. It was a time of election. The campaign in Umofia was in full swing. All knew that the Honorable Minister would have a landslide victory. Moving on to the next question, question number 15. Fill in the blanks with the right linker given in the brackets. You can see the words here: because, finally, gradually, that. Now let's fill the linkers here. Rivalry between Tamanna and Basavaya looked like healthy competition in the beginning. Gradually, it rose. Gradually, it rose to such a pitch that they started competing in buying each acre of land in the village. Finally, there was no land in the village was left for buying. Even then, Basavaya was not happy because he had 200 acres less than Tamanna. So there are 4 blanks. Each blank carries 4 marks. Moving on to the question number 16. It is rearrange the following segments to form a meaningful sentence. Gonzalo handkerchief is used as a shoe brush. So Don Gonzalo used his handkerchief as a shoe brush. So let's move on to the second main. Answer any 8 of the following, choosing at least 2 questions from the poem in a paragraph of 80 to 100 words. So as you all know, there are 10 questions. Out of 10 questions, you need to answer any 8. So in that 8, you have to opt, and it is mandatory that you need to choose 2 questions from poetry. Question number 17. Why does Juliet want Romeo to cut into little stars? Romeo and Juliet belongs to the rival family, that is the enemy family of Montagues and Capulets. Juliet feels a prejudiced birth of love for a man from the enemy family. She invites Romeo in night because he lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Juliet wants people to forget the shining sun by welcoming the gentle, loving, black-brown night. Why she says this? Because when she is dead, she wants her Romeo to cut into pieces of little stars so that he makes the face of the heaven so fine and all the people in the world will fall in love with night sky and pay no worship to the garish sun and forget Romeo has day in the night. And at last, why she says this? Because she wants her Romeo to remain immortal. Moving on to the next question, question number 18. How does the narrator describe the toy kingdom in 2 Deer? So, the toy little kingdom Monaco lies near the borders of France and Italy on the shore of Mediterranean Sea. And there were only 7,000 inhabitants in the tiny kingdom. And the people of other country would boast themselves saying that they have more population than the Monaco kingdom. And if the land in the kingdom is divided, not even all the 7,000 inhabitants would get an acre of land. Like all other kingdom, even the king of Monaco had a real kinglet. He had a palace, courtiers, ministers, bishop, general, and an army of 60 men. And here, the king used to collect taxes on tobacco, wine, spirit, and poll tax. Why he was collecting? Because he wanted to feed his officials and courtiers. So he was collecting the taxes. But whatever the tax he was collecting, it was not sufficient. So he started with the special source of revenue known as gaming house, where the people played roulette. Roulette is a game of cards. So here, when they play the roulette game, the keeper used to get a percentage. Whatever the profit he gets, he has to pay a certain amount to the King of Monaco. Even the German sovereigns had started with this game, but they had forbidden this game because the people would come, try their luck, and later they drown or shoot themselves when they lose everything. But there was no one to stop the Prince of Monaco, and he remained as the only monopoly to continue this business. But here, the king knew that whatever the business he was doing, it was a dirty business, but he did not have any other way to feed the officials and the courtiers. So he continued with this business. Moving on to the next question, question number 19. What attitude should parents have towards their children according to poem on children? A woman who approaches the prophet to know about a babe against her bosom. So prophet is a person who can answer all your questions. So here is a woman holding a babe and she wants to know about the parenthood. In the beginning sermon itself, prophet says that your children are not your children because children live with their parents, but they do not belong to them. Parents may give their love to the children. They should never force their ideas and thoughts because children have their own ideas and identity, or they have their own ideas and thoughts. They cannot impose their ideas and thoughts on the children because each and every child is born with creativity. They may house their borders but not their souls. They can protect you by giving shelter, but they cannot protect your inner soul. The soul of the children dwell in the house of tomorrow because children belong to the future of tomorrow. According to the prophet, God is archer, parents are bow, and children are the living arrows. And here, the archer loves both parent as well as children. Here, the parent is stable in one place where it is the work of the arrow, that is the child, to go far and reach the destination. He bends the bow. He, in a sense, the archer bends the bow too much so that the arrow goes swift and far. He loves both bow as well as the arrow. That is, he loves both parents and children. Next question. Write a note on Navadanya farm and Navadanya movement. The Navadanya farm was started in the year 1994 in the Don Valley, which is located on the lower elevation of Himalayan region in Uttarakhand province. So here, when she started with the Navadanya farm, she collected the seeds from the farmers and then she later gave the demonstration and the training to the farmers. And now the farmers grow 630 varieties of rice, 150 varieties of wheat and 100 of other spices. And they have 1,000 communal seed banks all over the world, and now they grow 3,000 rice varieties. Navadanya Biodiversity Conservation and Organic Farming was started in the year 1987. It spread and helping farmers to make transition from fossil fuel and chemical-based monocultures to biodiverse ecological system which is nourished by sun and the soil. It will give a solution to food and nutritional crisis. Question number 21. How does Donna Laura describe her best friend's death to Don Gonzalo in A Sunny Morning? Or you can expect the question as, how does Laura conceal her friend's story to Don Gonzalo? Laura's friend awaited for the news for days, months, a year, and no letter came from her beloved. One day, she went to the seashore, wrote her beloved name, and kept a bouquet on the sand, and when the waves came, along with the waves, the bouquet as well as whatever she had written, everything was swept into the sea. And the tide roses to the rock and swept her out to sea. This is narrated by both Gonzalo and Laura respectively. So both, whatever the story created by both Laura and Gonzalo, it was utterly a lie. Both knew that they are lying, but they pretended as if they don't know each other. But in reality, after 3 months, Gonzalo ran to Paris with a ballet dancer, and Laura, on the other hand, got married 2 years later. Question number 22. The rivalry between Tamanna and Basavaya started moving from the visible to the invisible domain. Explain. Tamanna and Basavaya, in the beginning, it was a healthy competition between them. If one acquired 10 friends, the other acquired 15. So it was like a healthy competition. But this competition turned towards rivalry later on. Tamanna bought land, Basavaya also followed a suit. They acquired friends and admirers in competition. But gradually it rose to such a pitch that there was no land left in the village to buy. So whatever the land was there in the village, everything was brought by Tamanna and Basavaya. There was no more land left. So Tamanna had 1,000 acres of land and Basavaya had 800 acres. So here Basavaya was not happy because he had 200 acres less than Tamanna. So Basavaya sent his people to ask Tamanna to sell his 200 acres of property. But Tamanna was not ready to sell. Later, Basavaya forcibly acquired his 200 acres of property and a fence was built there. But here, the supporters of Tamanna told that you can get your land back by taking the help of the court or the police, or we as a supporters will help you out. But Tamanna was not ready. He wanted to destroy Basavaya completely. So what did he do? He started to compose all his experience in the form of ballads and sing them. He started to sing. But even Basavaya also tried, but he couldn't do it. So now the rivalry between Tamanna and Basavaya started moving from things that were visible towards the invisible abstract domain. Basavaya filled his house with material wealth. He invited musicians, scholars, and he himself appointed the people to praise him. He decorated himself with gold, diamonds, and precious stones. But the people, whoever visited his place, they used to say that you have everything at your place, but one thing is missing, that is the books of Tamanna. Next question. How does the foot become imprisoned in the shoe to the foot from its child? In the beginning, the child thought that when the child is born, the child thought that it can be a butterfly or an apple because it did not know the reality, the harsh realities of life. But later, when it realizes, the child gets to know that it cannot be a butterfly nor a bulging fruit in the branch. In the beginning, the child is unaware that it is a fruit and would be a butterfly or an apple. But as the child grows and faces the hardship of life, like walking on stones and bits of glasses, the ladders and the paths in the rough surface earth, the foot realizes that it is merely a foot and it cannot fly like a butterfly, nor it can be a bulging fruit on a branch. The child, when it walks on the rough path, wears shoes to protect the foot, but the foot feels defeated and tried and hates to be inside the shoes because again its life is inside the darkness. In the darkness of the shoe, it soon begins to understand the world in his own way. As the foot is enclosed in the darkness of the shoe, it can only feel the hardship of a man has to face to survive in this harsh world. This is also unable to see the other foot on a man's leg. So the child feels that it cannot be a butterfly or an apple after it gets to know the harsh realities of the life. Question number 24. Explain how the people of Japan respect each other's privacy according to George Mikes. So George Mike is the person who has visited the country Japan, and once he reaches the place within half an hour, he says that the people of Japan are well-mannered. They are executively well-mannered people and they respect each other's privacy. Honesty has a double function. It is courtesy and its substitute privacy. For example, why he says that the Japan people are well-mannered and they respect each other privacy? Because the telephone is situated on the table or on a counter as there is no space to spare for booths. Still, more confidential business transaction, intimate love quarrels are conducted in public yet in perfect privacy. If it is a business conversation or a quarrel about love affair, whatever it is, the people are least bothered because they respect each other's privacy. They don't even give their ears to such things. They come, they do their work and they'll just go. If they're speaking louder also, they are least bothered. Anybody, any passerby could not listen in. A man's telephone receiver is his castle. That is why George Mike says that a man's telephone receiver is his castle. If you speak loudly or if you shout, if you quarrel, even then the people who are around you, they are least bothered. So he says they are well-mannered people. Question number 25. Why was Roof in a fix while casting his oath in the otter? So Roof is known as Rufus Okay, and in short he is called as Roof. He was a bicycle repair apprentice and he has done campaigning for 3 levels, that is village, local and national levels. He was a very good campaigner for Marcus eBay. Rufus OK. Roof was in the service of Marcus eBay, Honorable Minister for the upcoming election. Roof saw that he would vote for Maduka. If not, the IE would take a note. So here, what happens during the time of the election? A person from the opposition party comes and bribes Roof by giving him 5,000 pounds. He takes the amount and he promises on the God, that is IE is a God. He promises on the God saying that he is going to cast his vote for the opposition party. So now it is the time to cast his vote. So what is he going to do now? On the day of the election, Roof pretended that nothing had happened. He was caught in a fix while he was voting in the booth. So once you enter inside the booth, you cannot stand there for a longer time. And the police was questioning what the man is doing inside the booth. You have to cast your vote and immediately you have to come out. Here, after entering inside the booth, Roof is totally confused. He is scared because he has taken 5 pounds. He has promised on the God saying that he will vote for Maduka. And he is also a very good campaigner for Marcus eBay. So what is he going to do now? He folded the ballot paper issued to him, tore into 2 halves at the seams and put 1 half in each box. So he is having a ballot paper, and what did he do? Suddenly an idea triggers his mind. He tears the ballot paper into 2 pieces and put the first half into Maduka's box and the second half into Marcus eBay's box. As he promised the God, he is just casting his first half of the ballot paper into Maduka's and the second half to Marcus eBay. And he comes out with a purple ink on his finger saying that whenever the people or the supporters of Marcus eBay see, he says that I have casted my vote for Marcus eBay. Whenever the supporters of the opposition party Maduka sees, he says that he has casted his vote for Maduka. But only he knows that what has happened inside the electoral booth. Explain the role played by Sheila Rani Chunkat in the cycling movement in Where There Is a Wheel. Sheila Rani Chunkat was the district collector who promoted the employment of women by including cycling as the literacy drive. She also included the mobility as a part of literacy drive. She pushed the banks to give loans for the women who wanted to buy the bicycles. As you all know, there were 3 women who shared their experience. That was Jamila Bibi, Fatima and Avakani. So here Fatima was a secondary school teacher where she could not afford so much of money on the bicycle, but to have that experience for half an hour she used to hire a bicycle. And Avakani, she was a trainer. Cycling boosted income and the bicycles cut down on time wasted in waiting for buses as they carried agriculture and other produce within a small group to sell them. They can cover the large areas and increase their leisure time too. So the women who are having bicycle, who are trained with the bicycle, so they were not wasting their time by waiting for the buses, nor for the men to pick and drop them. So before they go, they'll just plan how many villages they can cover, whatever the house-made products they can sell and cover. While coming back, they used to just pick their kids and collect the waters, and they come home, reach early so that they have some leisure time. Cycling has empowered the rural women to improve their economic self-respect and independence also. Now let's move on to the third main. Answer the following questions in about 200 words. So here you have 3 questions. Out of 3, you're supposed to answer any one. When you write the answer for 6 marks, make sure that you'll write the word introduction and give the story of the beginning of the chapter as an introduction. Then move on to the main question. Divide the answer into 2 paragraphs. At last, write the word conclusion and give the conclusion for the answer. If you have time, make a habit of writing the critical analysis. Critical analysis is nothing but what is your opinion based on that chapter. Now let's see question number 27. Both Romeo and Juliet employ contrasting images in their expression of appreciation and admiration for each other. Elaborate. Romeo and Juliet belongs to the rival families of Montagues and Capulets. Lord Capulet had hosted supper, but Romeo gets to know that he has hosted a supper, and to see Rosaline, he enters into the party hall. But there he sees Juliet on the dancing floor and he was fascinated by her beauty. Romeo initially described Juliet as a source of light. He said that she thought torches to burn bright and seemed to hang upon the cheek of night. She was compared to a red jewel in an Ethiop's ear. She is also compared to a snowy dove, and he also says that she is too very rich to be used and too rich to be buried. If she is among a crowd of crows, if she is among a group of women who is into darkest complexion, only her brightness or her beauty will be sparkling there. He would also address her as a yonder lady. Romeo expressed by telling that he would make his hand blessed by touching her hand. So Romeo stands in one place and he watches where she goes and stands. After she comes and stands in one place, he just wants to go and touch his rude hand and make it blessed. And at last, he questions himself, or he says for himself, I have never seen such a beautiful woman in my life. And I really don't know whether I have fallen in love with this beautiful woman. Juliet wants people to forget the shining sun by welcoming the gentle, loud, black-brown night. She invites Romeo in night because he will lie upon the wings of night wider than the new snow on a raven's back. She wants Romeo to cut into pieces of little stars after her death, so that he makes the face of the heaven so fine that all the people in the world will fall in love with night sky and pay no worship to the garish sun. She says this because she knew that, or she also knows that if her family gets to know that she has fallen in love with the enemy family, obviously her parents would have killed them. But even then, she did not think of that, and she says, if I'm dead, I want my Romeo to cut into pieces of stars, because she wants her Romeo to remain immortal. The next option, the function of the books is irreplaceable. Explain with reference to. Borges believes that books will never disappear. The books is the most astounding invention of man. As we all know that book cannot be replaced by any other extension of our bodies. For example, telephone is the extension of a voice. The telescope and the microscope are extension of a sight. The sword and the plough are extension of our arms. But books are only of imagination and memory. Books are the extension of imagination and memory. So he says that books will never disappear. Literature is a controlled dream. Books are the great memory of all centuries and their function are irreplaceable. If books disappear, surely he says history would disappear and also man would disappear. So as per the Borges, he says that books will never disappear. P. Sainath says a humble vehicle can be a tool for women's employment in where there is a wheel. Discuss. Cycling seems the chosen media for the rural women as a symbol of independence, freedom and mobility. The main thing is that cycling gives confidence to women and very importantly, it reduces the dependence on men. So here, if they want to travel from one place to another, if they want to sell their products, they have to depend on men if they have not learned the bicycle. Because they have to depend on their husband, brothers, father, whoever it is, to travel from their house to the bus stop, from there to the next bus stop. They have to wait, they have to walk for a longer distance. So if they knew the bicycle, they didn't want to depend on the men. They use bicycles to cart provision on their own from the other places. To sell their products and come back, bicycle was very important for them. For them, the bicycle cuts down time wasted for buses. Cycling eases selling of their product. It boosts their income and increases the leisure time. It brings self-respect, feeling of goodness, confidence, freedom and liberty. The bicycle serves as a metaphor for freedom. So the women of Pudukkottai says that they get independence, freedom and mobility by cycling. So now we are moving to the grammar part. We are done with the literature. The fourth main is the passage where you have 10 questions and all the 10 questions should be answered in a sequence. Read the following passage and answer the questions set on it. So this is the passage and here you have 10 questions. Now let's see the answer for these 10 questions. Mention any one of the feeling of a man towards a cat. So here the answer would be like adoration, reverence, hatred or persecution by humans throughout time. This is the answer for the first question. Moving on to the second one. When were cats first domesticated? The cats were first domesticated by the ancient Egypts as an early of 3000 BC. So when were they first domesticated? In 3000 BC. Next question. What did the cats eliminate to win the appreciation? So what did they do to win the appreciation? So here, cats, that is the African wild cats, started preying about the mice and the rats that fill Egyptian grain stores, and it did not take long time for the Egyptians to appreciate the cats. This is the answer for the third question. Egyptians shaved away their eyebrows when a cat was passed away. When they lost their cats, they shaved their eyebrows. Next, mention one of the qualities that the East attributes to cats. So what are the qualities that the East attributed to cats? From Egypt, cats spread to other parts of the world. They were great success in the East when they were again throughout to have a magic and mysterious qualities. Moving on to the next question. Who celebrated cats in their art? The cats in their art was celebrated by, so the answer is Roman art. In which art were cats represented as working animals. Who celebrated cats in their art? So it is the artist who celebrated cats in their art. Who celebrated? It was the artist. In which art were cats represented as working animals? It was in the Roman art. Diseases carrying rats flourished, contributing to widespread epidemics. Name the cat association formed in Britain. What was the cat association formed in Britain? So it was called as the National Cat Club of Great Britain. Add prefix to the word lucky to form an antonym. So lucky is unlucky, adding an antonym, that is the opposite words. Moving on to the next question. Read the following lines and answer the questions set on it. So here again it's a poem like a passage for 3 marks. You have 3 questions. You have to read the poem and answer the questions. What color is the wood? So here the 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood. So what color is the wood? Wood is yellow wood. The speaker sees before him a dense forest, 2 roads diverging in a forest, a crossing. In the first line itself is there. So here the speaker sees before him 2 roads diverging in a forest. How many travelers were there? And be 1 traveler. How many travelers were there? There were only 1 traveler. Next question. Report the following conversation. So don't get confused here. Report the conversation. It means to say that the direct and the indirect speech. Make sure that you will write the answer correctly because this question carries 5 marks. Let's see the answer for this question now. Don Gonzalo, I want a bench to myself. Benito, there is none. Gonzalo, that one over there is mine. Benito, there are 3 priests sitting there. Don Gonzalo, route them out. So now, when you write the answer, it should be in a paragraph. Let's go line by line. Don Gonzalo, I want a bench for myself. So the answer would be like, Don Gonzalo said that he wanted a bench for himself. So how do you write the indirect speech? Whatever I'm saying has a first person and speaking. You has a second person listening to me. Whatever you have listened, you'll convey that to the third person. That is how the indirect speech will be written. The next sentence, Benito, there is none. Benito said that there was none. Don Gonzalo, that one over there is mine. Don Gonzalo said that one over there was his. Mine becomes his. Benito, there are 3 priests sitting there. Benito informed Gonzalo that there were 3 priests sitting there. Don Gonzalo route them out. Gonzalo Don Gonzalo told Benito to rout them out. So your answer should be in a paragraph like this. So this question carries 5 marks. Moving on to the next question, the question number 31. Complete the following dialogue. So here it's two friends at the college. So when it means to say that two friends, so here the dialogue is in an informal language. It's an informal. As you all learned in your first PUC, there are 16 odd language functions. So when you get to know or when you read the dialogue, you will understand whether it is in a formal language function or informal language function. When you know the person too very well, it is an informal. When you don't know the person, it is formal. So here, it is an informal dialogue writing. There are two friends at the college. Mohan, hi Ramesh, good morning. Ramesh, responding to the greeting. Mohan, your cell phone for a moment, requesting. Ramesh, sure, no problem, offering. Mohan, it will only be a minute or two. Ramesh, take your time, no rush. Mohan expressing gratitude. So before answering or writing the dialogue, you need to read the complete dialogue and then answer the question, because there are clues given here. Based on these expressions, you need to write your answers. So there are 4 blanks. Each blank carries 4 marks. Moving on to the next one. That is, read the following passage and make a notes by drawing and filling the boxes given below. So again, it's like a passage. You have a passage and you can see the boxes here with the numbers. You have to read the passage and you have to fill the boxes. It's very clearly given that you have to draw. So it's very important. Make a note that you have to draw the box and then fill the answers. Don't write only the answers because it's clearly given in the question. Read the passage and make notes by drawing and filling the boxes. 8 boxes are there. Each boxes carries half a mark. Now, let's see the answer for this question. Methods of cultivating rice. So, we have 3 blanks. Let's see here. There are 3 methods of rice cultivation. They are broadcasting, drilling and transplanting. So, methods of cultivating rice are like broadcasting, drilling, and the next one is transplanting. And after this, next see the 4th question. The 4th question is here. Involves scattering of seeds by. That is, broadcasting involves scattering of seeds by. The broadcasting methods involves scattering of seeds by hand, and it is practiced in less fertile hills. So practiced in less fertile hills. Next, seeds are drilled into soil confined to. In drilling method, seeds are drilled into soil. This method is confined to peninsular India. So confined to peninsular India. Next, transplanting uses seedlings grown in seed beds for. The transplanting method uses seedlings grown in seed beds for 4 weeks. So, seed beds for 4 weeks gives. It requires abundant supply of labor and water but gives higher yield. Gives what? Gives higher yields. I have filled the box. Each box carries half marks. Put together, it's for 4 marks. Moving on to the next question. Write a letter of application in response to the following advertisement which appeared in Deccan Herald dated 3rd September 2022. Again, it's a very important question. This question doesn't have an option. It's for 5 marks. It's the job application. So wanted, office assistant, qualification should be second PUC pass with computer knowledge must. Apply within 15 days to the manager, Pushpa Industries, Mysuru Road, Mandya. It's very important that you should write your name as XX and your address as YY. Nowhere in the answer script you'll write your name as well as the college name. It should be only XX as your name and YY as your address. And when you write the letter writing, make sure that you'll write in a single leaf, a fresh page. Not even a word, not the sentence, nor the letter should be written. It should be in a fresh page with the question number. It will be followed by from, date, to address, then write the salutation, then write the subject, reference, body of the letter, closure by saying thank you, yours faithfully, signature, and your signature with the word XXX. Next, in the next page, in a fresh page, write the resume, and to know more about it, watch the video in the YouTube. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 34. Imagine that you're the secretary of your college's eco club and you are required to deliver a speech on the importance of ecological balance. Prepare a speech of about 100 words based on the point mentioned below. Again, here you have an option either to write a speech or to write a report. So this question carries 5 marks. Now let's see the clues here. What is ecological balance? Why is ecological balance important? Impact of global warming on Earth, imbalance resulting in floods and droughts, etc. Shortage of food grains, rise in diseases like COVID-19, etc. Then the need for immediate response or to address this issue. Based on these clues, you need to write a speech. So this question carries 5 marks. For this, you have an option to write a report. Following bar graph represents data regarding 10th standard students' preference of subjects. Based on the information, write a report in about 120 words. So here they have given the percentage. Here you can see the subjects and the shaded one will be the students. So based on this bar graph, you need to write a report where you have to do the comparison with the percentage, and at last you need to give one reason based on the subjects why there is a good performance or why the students are not studying. What is the reason for this? You need to give a reason at last. So this question carries 5 marks. Here you have an option to write a report or a speech. So if you ask me which one to go on, my answer would be report writing because you have everything. Only the thing is that you have to just do the comparison and give the reason at last. Now moving on to the last question of the model question paper, that is the question number 35. What do the underlined words in the following paragraph refers to? So here is a small paragraph and you can see the words underlined. So read the following paragraph and just say whom does they or them refers to in the paragraph. This question carries 4 marks. There are 4 blanks. Let's see the answer for this. Egypt, wild cats preyed upon rats. They were destroying grains, which were stored in granaries. So which was stored? That is the cats, which was stored in the granaries. In Rome, cats were treated as working animals and not much respect was given to them. For whom much respect was not given? So here in Rome, cats were treated as working animals and not much respect was given to them. Again, them is the cats because they were working as a women but not much respect was given to them. The Europeans owned cats for fancy. They started breeding. They in the sense that is the Europeans. The Europeans started breeding. started breeding them at home. In Japan, the beckoning cats were seen as lucky since their charm was believed to protect owls. So there, whom does there refers to? So there refers to the cats. There refers to cats was believed as a charm to protect the house owls. So with this, we have come to the end of the model question paper. Whatever the board has left, this is the revised model question paper of the year 2023. Have a good day. Thank you.